see it on screen.
Hi,
Hey,
hello
everybody.
everyone.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back again.
We have right now we're a beer down. Says he'll be here. Says it might be a little bit late. We'll see. But we have Brett.
Hey,
We do. We do.
glad to be here.
And I didn't crash a mini bike today.
You did not crash.
We're 14 days without incident.
14 days since last incident.
All right. My hand still hurts on that one.
HR department will be proud.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to, cross off the thing on the whiteboard, saying.
Still have to say, you came off of that thing pretty much perfectly.
Yeah.
There ain't a better way to crash.
I mean, you got to think though. I mean, when he went off the bike and went into the air for that brief moment in time, he had the same perspective of the world that the rest of us had.
I was like,
right?
wow, this is what it's like to be 5'8". I can see the tops of stuff. That's what a tree looks like.
So Brett and I have been friends pretty much since right after he moved down here in 1990, and
35 years.
we've been doing dumb shit with cars ever since.
Yeah. Literally.
Dumb shit with cars.
Yeah.
Speaking of, so I'll go ahead and throw this up on here so you can talk us through it, Brett. Let's go into what you got.
Okay.
So you'll see it pop up on there. It's a little bit delayed.
Yep.
It's just the pictures you sent through the email.
So Brett's got a really cool car that's been a family piece for a lot of years, and now it's in his custody. And he's from, when did you first bring it down? 2011.
Yeah.
From then until now, the transformation has been absolutely insane.
So this is my 1970 Mach 1 Mustang. These pictures are most recent. It now has a 395-inch Windsor in it with AFR 205 heads, solid roller cam, 3-inch exhaust with an X-pipe, Super 44 mufflers, full roller C4 transmission with a 4500 stall converter. It's definitely rowdy. It's got nitrous, but I don't think I need it. Do
After
I?
the poll that we
Yeah,
just
do I-
did,
do
no,
you
we
think I
do
need
not.
it?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
It's a lot of fun to drive if you like just going straight. You try to make a turn in it, it's probably not going to be real happy, but it's my baby.
Yeah, and it's like I said, he's had this thing for a lot of years. It was a family piece for a couple decades before that, long time in the family.
Yeah, it's been in the family since the 90s. My grandfather had it, my dad, and I helped him put it together. And after my grandmother died, she said that when Bruce wasn't driving the car anymore, that it should come to Florida.
Yeah.
So Barbara died in 2009. My grandfather called me and said, "I haven't driven it in a year. Come get it." So.
But that was also too. You brought it down and then got fixed a bunch of stuff of it and took it back up.
and he
but
drove
that-
it for a while. But
the trip down, sketchy.
yeah, there wasn't a single gauge that worked except the gas gauge. So I knew.
Like he was talking about what state the car was in, and then when he brought it down, it had been repainted and a lot of stuff had been redone on it. But mechanically, there was wiring that was held together with household wiring nuts. Like it was
Speaker
bad.
wire for the headlights.
Yeah, it was bad. But then just the general kind of mechanical state of the car, I was like, wow, you drove down here in that thing. He was basically did roadkill before roadkill did roadkill.
Nice.
Nothing worked. Anything in the car worked. I just knew how big the gas tank was, and so I drove it for an hour or two, put gas in it, did the math in my head, and said, well, I can drive for 3 hours and I got to stop. And it was no heat in it, which I live in Florida, it didn't really matter. But coming out of Pennsylvania, all the way to Georgia, it was cold.
Not to mention you had a storm that was kind of following you down
And
the
it
East
was-
Coast the whole way.
Yeah, and if you've ever driven a rear-wheel drive car with summer tires in snow, I was praying I didn't get snow.
Never seen snow. Well, I've seen snow once, but I've never driven.
I was like I said, I was
Yeah.
I was 5 and 6 years old when I was in snow last.
Just go stick your head in a bucket of ice water for a half hour, and that's what it's like.
I'm good. I'm good.
But
You guys got a big freezer at work, don't you?
Climate.
Yeah.
Just go stand there for about an hour.
Yeah, no.
Just go in there and stand there
Yeah.
for an hour. That's what it's like living
You're not
up
missing
north.
anything.
yeah,
I'm good.
but just without the occasional wind and without the snow actually pelting you in the face.
Yeah.
And most importantly, just what you do is you take like some bleach and some salt and liquid salt and just spray it all over your car and just watch it rust.
Well, yeah, you got the car out front. You know what
Yeah,
it looks
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got the rust example. The only thing, honestly, I'm surprised that thing doesn't have snow blades on the windshield.
I'm actually,
Snow wipers.
I'm
like. Oh, the
surprised it
little
doesn't.
flipper
Yeah.
things.
No. The wipers, that the entire wiper has a rubber boot covering it.
I don't remember those.
My '79 Honda, which came from New York, had snow blades on it when I got that thing.
I probably had them. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I got about $8 worth of pennies in the ashtray though, but that's because going
That-
in and out of the train and
That
going on the causeway.
almost pays for the timing belt you put in it.
True. Yeah. Still won't run, but
Yeah, it still won't run, but something is timed off. We cannot get the timing to.
Line up.
There's timing marks in there, but then there's like one thing will say these are the timing marks, and another book will say these are the timing marks. And it's like, fuck, we don't know.
we got to put some bang and all that. So and it's making compression. It's getting fuel.
Does
in
it still have a distributor?
Yeah.
Does it?
Uh-huh.
Is the distributor 180 degrees out?
We
We never got that far, I don't think.
I
We
think
But-
tried like 2 different ways.
Popping and banging, maybe it's.
That's what we were thinking, but we tried it, spinning it, and it was still doing it. We're like, nah, I don't think that was it. So we spun it back, and then we ran out of time.
it was also 10 o'clock at night.
But also,
we had-
I mean, it's a Lima, so the distributor is driven off the oil pump drive,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is driven off the cam belt. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're simple engines and they're rugged, but
yeah.
If they don't work, they don't work.
they don't work. They don't work. But so
Well, another thing that we thought of is it could be that the exhaust is plugged up. It could be that the cat is completely clogged or something literally.
Yeah,
made
Easy
it
enough to
nasty.
fix.
Yeah.
Saws off.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and that was the one thing of like, hey, do we just unbolt
I mean,
it
technically,
and
it is old enough to be federally emissions exempt.
But trust me, I don't think that car's going back on the road.
Probably not.
That car, we need to figure out how to pick the locks on the louvers, get those off, and then it's sold.
Yeah, that was the main reason we wanted the cars
I
because
just wanted
the
the
louvers on the back of the car. Those are original 1986.
And they have locks?
Remind me next time I come over. I'll bring my pick set. We'll try and pick 'em.
Those are actual aluminum louvers out of the Ford accessories catalog.
No kidding.
Like those are real deal stuff. So obviously, it is the perfect piece to go on his car.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're 7-slot like
Christopher?
Ford dealership.
CJ, how's it going?
Ones, and that like it's the ones that like the dealership put on.
When I
like,
drove
if you
Van
ordered
Speed
them.
3, I cracked him up with
Um,
a saying when I went to
Yeah,
Well, that's cool.
and
That looked good on your
6
car.
Oh, yeah,
speeds,
that-
4
I've always-
cylinders,
I've
3
white and
pedals,
black,
and 1
I
leg.
like
I
it.
got
I've
this.
always wanted those louvers, and they're aluminum. They're not
They
plastic.
didn't have
grip.
those for the 91s. I don't
No.
recall those.
Mm.
Yeah, I know they had them for your years.
I mean, obviously they'll fit right
they'll
on
fit.
there,
It's
bolt
the
on,
same
but
thing, but we just never saw them.
yeah, but like in
They
the
literally
90s, like
slide underneath the trim,
Mhm.
the silver trim. It slides right underneath, and that's literally what holds them onto the car.
yeah, pretty much the same way as the shadow louvers that were for my Z.
Mhm.
They pretty much just had the pieces. Like the top ones just went under the window trim,
Yep.
and then the side ones went under the window trim, and the louvers went
So
down. And
Ford
had just,
learned a few things
had a
since
pair-
mine. 'cause
and
I
had a
to drill
pair-
holes in the roof.
Yeah.
yeah, and had a pair of little. Yeah, it had a pair of wing nuts that went down and held them in place, and the wraparound louvers that were on my RX-7 was the same way.
Yeah. But no, and that's why I wanted the car was those louvers the whole entire
Oh,
time.
that's worth it then.
Oh yeah, the whole entire time. So I've been looking at that car since they moved down from New York. So back in like
She gave it to you?
2007, and that I got it from my cousin, and that she gave it to my cousin because both my cousins actually came home from the hospital in that car, and that both of them came home from the hospital in that car, and
Okay.
then it was sitting parked for
Down here.
yeah, huh?
Down here. It was parked down here.
Oh yeah, it was parked up in New York too.
I was surprised they
But
brought it with so
they-
much rust on it.
It was her baby. That was her first brand new car that she ever bought. Never got rid of it, and
Drove it to
So yeah, family
yeah,
piece.
yeah. And then my uncle would drive it because he worked in the city, so and they lived on Long Island. That he would drive it to the train station every day, and that.
That's
and,
cool.
Yeah. So
But I mean, as bad as the car is, it did give us the shitbox rescue adventure.
it did.
His truck, I mean-
interior is actually really nice on it. Like
Yeah,
it's
but it was-
something-
Is that the car you towed with it?
Yeah, but it like I said, so there's 3,100 pounds of shitbox Fox body, maybe 3,000 now because of all the rust, and 2,000 pounds of U-Haul trailer, and his truck towed it like an absolute
Perfect.
champ.
absolutely perfectly.
I
And
was so proud of my
and
truck
we
that
got a
day.
Bucky stop out of it.
Yeah, we pulled into a packed Bucky's with a loaded car trailer with a car on it. Found a parking spot. Like, we're parking there. Let's go get some sandwiches.
The
Were you in Daytona?
yeah.
Yeah, we had to go all the way to Oldsmar Beach, and that
Yeah.
literally like 5 minutes from my cousin's house was the Bucky's. So
Yeah, because I'm like, there's a Bucky's over here, and I looked at the map. I'm like, guys, it's like
never
five.
been to
It's
one.
like 5 miles
Never
from here.
been
well, we hadn't been either, but it was 5 miles from where we were at, and it took us 4 minutes. Or
Yeah.
no, it was 5 minutes away. It was 2 miles.
Yeah,
two
it was.
miles
It
away.
took us almost no time. We pulled in,
And we had fun.
found 2 spots that were, we just pulled in, and then went inside and we're like, holy hell, Buc-ee's is amazing.
It's
You
big.
can
I've
walk.
Seen people do videos
No,
in there.
you can walk into a Buc-ee's bare ass naked with a credit card, and walk out fully clothed from head to toe with some really nice sunglasses,
And a
belly
luggage.
and a belly full of barbecue and cherry lime soda.
Yeah, all of
the
us,
cherry lime
all of
soda.
us got
So
cherry lime
good.
soda. I'm like, oh man, what'd you get?
Aren't
Cherry
they
lime
building
soda.
one of those over in Ocala?
Yep.
where
No, they're-
Circuit City used to be.
They're building one. I don't know if it's done yet.
I thought it was
No.
Circuit City.
Well, they're opening one up there. Not where Circuits. It's
No.
going to be on.
Where
It's on 40 or on 200?
Where the Chewy distribution center and that
Yeah,
is.
it's the next one up past 40.
Yeah, they're making their
Oh,
own
Bellevue?
exit for it.
329, I think.
up.
is what that road
Oh,
is.
further.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heading towards Micanopy.
Okay. So it's not in Ocala.
Well, it's still technically
Yeah, I know,
Ocala, but it's the
yeah.
so not 40. The next one after 40, I think that's 329. I want to
It's
say,
a little
yeah.
further
or
up.
321. One of the two.
Yeah, something like that.
Cool.
But yeah, if you go, I will say the 3-meat barbecue sandwich.
And the cherry limeade soda is good.
I might skip that.
We all got that.
All 3 of us independently.
Got
Like
the
I
cherry
saw
lime.
it and was like, ooh, cherry lime. That sounds good. I walk over and they're like, yeah, we got cherry lime too. How'd y'all guess that?
And we were all in,
Different
like we
parts of
walked
the
in
store.
together and we kind of stayed together for a little bit, and then we all just kind of went. Bloop.
Yeah. I come back with like this much, like a whole stack of beef jerky and that, and I got a sandwich in one hand and a thing in here. They're coming back with like a whole thing of beaver nuggets and I'm like,
I
Are we
went in
good?
there. I walked out of there with. I walked out of
What is
there.
a beaver nugget?
All right,
Corn-
you remember
corn pop.
corn pops?
Yeah.
that's what,
It's
exactly
corn
what it is.
pops, but just a little bit crunchier
And
Okay.
sweeter.
and
All right.
sweeter.
You can literally pour
Super
milk all over
delicious.
them. If you go to Roll King, they have the exact same thing.
Nah,
But they're
not the same.
they're crunchy, tasty,
Okay.
They're about $4 cheaper at Roll King.
and
They're not the same.
there
though.
also seems
They're-
to be just a hint of salt going on in there too.
Okay.
So it works. But yeah, like I said,
So it's
so
not something I'd probably.
we pretty
eat
much
then.
all ended up walking back up to the register with our, like I said, I had, cherry lime soda, 3-meat barbecue sandwich, 2 packets of different kinds of jerky. There's a whole fucking wall of jerky.
There's
I've seen the wall of jerky.
I got 2 different bags of jerky, a bag
and
of
you
beaver
can
nuggets.
sample all of them. They got a jerky
Well,
bar where
I
they'll
watched
literally
a-
let you sample
I watched
every
a
single.
British person go through the store, and they're like, "Why do you need a wall of jerky?"
You know how
Why
to
not?
slide.
And that was what they came to. Was
Welcome to
why not?
America.
Yeah, welcome to
Yeah.
America. Everything's bigger here
Well, that's like, there's these 2 British dudes that will go out and try new foods here in America.
in Louisiana.
And there was one where they went into a barbecue joint.
Yes.
And he started to get this rib with a knife and a fork.
Oh yeah.
And the owner of the store comes out, and he comes out, he's like, no. He's like, forks down. He's like, and he took the guy's hand, he's like,
Pick it up.
pick up your food, enjoy your food, and taste it. And then when that dude took a bite of that rib, the amount of amazement over his face was amazing. And I'm like, well, that's because you all put beans on toast.
That's right.
That's a country that turned into a world empire by shipping spices all over the planet and never learned how to use them.
Yeah. They just sold them. They didn't use them.
I always crack up because they're always talking about. There's one that I just saw today.
Yeah, the road
Guy's
you
here
take to
for
the fire
30
college.
days on a road tripping vacation in an RV, and he's like, I have driven almost 3,000 miles. That's like 100 miles a day. Is that a lot to you Americans?
Nope.
And we're all like, so like my daily commute.
Yeah, I know people drive that much every day just to go to work.
What was
Right.
it, 100 miles?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100
Well,
miles.
that's
That's 50 miles each
I
way.
think if you drove to Tampa every day for work.
yeah, up.
Yeah.
It's up towards where you go to the Bubba Raceway.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
no, that's
all
but
right.
no, that's the thing with a lot of Europeans don't really understand just the absolute size
Of our
of the
country.
of the contiguous United States. I mean, they drive for 2 or 3 hours. They can be in 2 or 3 different countries.
Well, it's like we took a ride.
You can
in
drive
a-
for 3 hours and not leave one state.
We
We
took
might
a
still
ride
be in the
a-
same county.
in an electric van, and he was talking about it goes 400 kilometers. That's great. I could go around this island like 4 times. I'm like, doing the math in my head, 400 kilometers.
150 miles.
That's not that far, but when you're got 40 miles of roads around the entire
1.6
perimeter,
kilometer per mile.
Yeah.
I guess technically that's a long way, but it would not last very long in the United States.
Yeah.
He'd have to charge, I think, every single night. He was telling us he charges it once a week. I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Want first beer?
First beer,
sure.
All right, which one am I doing?
whichever one you want.
Okay.
I'm gonna split with somebody if that's all right. I gotta drive.
Me too.
Yeah, and you two might as well split.
Yeah. I just need a sample.
That's all I do.
I'm a pansy when it comes to beer anyway. If it doesn't taste like Coors Light, if it's something special, spicy, summery, fruity,
Oh, we're all over the damn place.
I'm like, just beer is all I need.
We're all over the damn place.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff you guys drink. I'm like, that doesn't sound good at all.
You'd be amazed. You
And
would
some
be
of it's not.
Yeah,
Some of it's not. There's been some where it was just like,
The hibiscus beers.
thank you for that one.
Sorry about that.
I still think the worst one, though, has got to be the Organic Ultra that Dan brought.
Yeah.
That's got to be the worst
That's
one.
still the worst
The
one.
Michelob?
Michelob Organic Ultra.
Yeah.
That was by far.
They have seltzers that are done the same way.
Oh, it was awful. It was absolutely
It's
horrible.
the only beer we've ever poured out on this show.
Like,
Really?
that was the first one that we poured out. Since then, I think we poured
We've done
another.
a few other ones since
Yeah,
then.
we-
We did that sampler pack and we poured some of those out because
Yeah.
they tasted like, battery acid.
The answer to the wall of jerky is an eagle screech.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's funny.
Yeah, we cracked open this Michelob Gold Organic. We all took exactly one sip
And just went.
and we went, nah. I poured it out right on my garage floor. I said, nope, this one needs maximum disrespect.
I grew up with people drinking Heineken, and I'm like, it's a really skunky beer. I don't like it. But some people swear like beers like that are awesome. It's just don't.
Well, some people really like Corona. I don't like
Corona.
I don't like Corona, but Sabrina, what was that? Sabrina got some variant of Corona a couple weeks
It was
ago.
pretty good.
That was actually really good. It didn't have the skunk.
My attitude is if you have to put a lime in it, then you're changing it. Why don't you just
Like
drink it out of the-
Freiberger says, I'm drinking a beer, not eating a salad.
Yeah.
I'm not eating a fruit salad. Just want a beer.
That's funny.
But Freiberger's on the same page with me, so he doesn't like IPAs.
Yeah.
Dan loves IPAs.
Well, my great grandfather was from Germany, and he said all American beer is Pisswater.
When he was saying that, he's probably right. Just drinking Budweiser and that.
His beers were very dark and like a loaf of bread
Yeah, we get some like that.
with 12% alcohol in it. And
Yeah,
it was a rule that you didn't drink them cold; they were always room temperature.
We've had quite a few like that.
Yeah, we have found some Austrian beers and German beers, and 2 from a brewery in Iceland.
Yeah,
Einstock.
I want to go there.
Einstock toasted porter.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
I want to
That's
go
a
there.
cold weather beer right there. That's a beer where you drink that beer and you can take the jacket off. You don't need it no more. Warm you up inside.
Some of the high octane beers though, they kind of changed what the style is like. Like there was one, the Diver Down, which was that was Diver Down, the red.
Yep.
It was 8.5% or 9% or something like that, and it was. I mean, it would have if the alcohol content had been lower, it'd have been a really good red. But the alcohol content changed it just enough.
One of my big problems with beers that I'm not accustomed to is the alcohol content. You get above like 6%, 12 ounces is no longer applied. You got to shrink that thing down.
Pine Street Pub, there was one. It was a Goose Island. It was a Goose Island beer, and it was like 31 or 32%.
That's a wine. No, that's like a that's.
They
that's
served
liquor.
they served that in a snifter, and you only got one.
5
But-
ounces.
But the thing was, and it was expensive, so we got one for the table so we could all try it. It was actually really, really good.
Yeah.
Like,
That was one of those where you're like, peaty
how did that happen?
and woody. Quite good. You okay?
And then,
Yeah, no, I've broken my hand in the freezer. They were put in wet and they froze together. Pull it out and it.
thank you.
So I had to save your glass, Brian. Yours almost broke too.
Thank you. Yeah.
But my
10X
Coors,
glass.
but my
Yeah, yeah,
Coors Light one with the
Hey,
actual
Do you
ra-
remember the
raised
beer
mountain?
fest they were having
I
at the
have one of
racetrack? They started years ago. They were going to have this beer festival every year at the racetrack, and it was put on by one of the Mike Scott Plumbing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
It
Yeah.
And it kind of fizzled and went away.
It did once in that.
Well, then they had the one over at the Armory in Crystal River.
which
that
was by the Citrus Rotary, but then they ended up moving over to the depot, and I do it at the
and that predates us doing this.
yeah, because that's how we kind of started this.
Well, they had a beer there
Well, we did kill a keg there.
that they put into whiskey barrels.
We've
Really good.
we've been hit or miss on those.
They can be really good, but if they jack the alcohol content up with it so much, where it's like 12%,
Yeah,
It's kind of harsh.
Yeah, it sucks too.
I don't know if this put any extra alcohol in it just by doing that, but it gave it that smoky flavor.
Well,
Yeah.
some beers, just the beer itself is higher alcohol content. Like, what was the one that your brother aged that we had?
It's the
That was a Dogfish Head, wasn't it?
yes, it's the 120-minute IPA.
So it's an IPA, and I don't like IPAs.
But it's the 120-minute. So what you get in the store is the 30-minute IPA, or their higher end is the 60-minute. They do a very limited release of a 120-minute one. You only get it in a 4-pack, and a 4-pack's about like $40 in that. But it starts at
12 to 13%.
it's like a 13.5. Okay, but what my brother-in-law does is he'll buy a case of them.
At what point does it become malt liquor?
Well,
Keep going.
what he does, he buys a case of them each year when they put them out, and he puts them away at the bottom of the dark pantry, and he ages them for usually 2 to 3 years, and that. And at that point, because most beers, if you put them away and all that, they'll skunk, and that. But once it's over a 10 to 11%, it is like wine. It'll actually age, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So when we had it, one is an IPA, which we normally hate IPAs. The IPA taste was gone. It tasted completely different. It was
Boat drink. It was boat drink.
complex.
That's what it tasted like. Boat drink.
But it was about a
Was it sweet?
It was sweet,
sweet, but it was tart also.
It was sweet. It was tart. It was citrusy. It was a lot. It was really complex, but it was basically like somebody went and made a really, really nice boat drink.
Like it was like full on like a cocktail type deal, but because it was probably about a 30 to 35%.
Yeah, it had aged up a lot. It completely changed the character.
And it was one.
And it was like
we split one, a 12-ounce one. We split, and
like-
it gave us
like,
a
that's
good
beer?
buzz.
It's like, wow, that's a beer.
Yeah,
What the
so we
hell?
had about that much each of us, and it was like
Well,
taking.
that's what I'm saying.
a
At what point is
cocktail.
is it no longer beer?
At
You know
that
what I
point,
mean?
Yeah.
it was more of like in the mead.
Yeah, it was.
range.
It kind of turned into a mead. So what I found here is Barrel of Monks Brewing, the Wizard Belgian White Ale with orange peel and coriander. Product of the USA. Pale yellow in color and slightly hazy. I don't see any haze. The Wizard has a touch of bready tang from the wheat malt complements the orange peel citrus note and coriander spice. This refreshing wheat ale is ideal for those seeking a drinkable yet full-flavored beer. Made in Boca Raton, Florida.
I'm curious before we try it. It is a sticker label.
What's underneath it?
That's because remember, so there was a gift pack one that we got one time that was from was it the Aldi one? The Aldi like advent calendar one?
Yeah,
and they wrapped it, but underneath they used cans from like wherever they could get their hands on. So it was
nothing.
like
Yeah, so it was like unused cans from other
Must be
breweries.
easier to make a label than it is to print the
yeah.
Yeah.
And so knowing this, they have this actually on the can, so it's probably all this stuff has that, and they just
Yeah.
wrap a different
Yeah.
label onto it.
Sláinte.
Cheers.
Cheers. Salud.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's good.
Definitely can taste the coriander.
Yep.
That's a coriander first hit. No, I never even knew what coriander was until
I feel like this
Most
tastes
of
like
this-
Blue Moon.
It kind of is, but it's not as.
It might be the look.
It's not
It's
as. It's
given
not.
my mind.
It's not as hazy as Blue Moon.
it doesn't
Yeah.
make me want to fight people. I have 2 Blue Moons, and it's like me drinking an entire bottle of whiskey.
Really?
I
So
throw,
that's like a mellow beer. to me.
I,
See,
I,
now this-
I throw,
this
I
is
throw-
funny.
I throw punches, and they've
This is-
seen it.
Blue Moon is Angry Mike.
I can drink. I can drink a full 15 pack of Natty Light, be
You're
joyful,
perfectly fine.
happy, piss in the backyard, fall asleep. I drink 2 Blue Moons, and I'm bringing out a knife, and I'm about to stab somebody.
It's got cocaine in it.
Kinda. But then you give him Shiner Bock and he breaks out in hives.
Yeah.
Listen, I break out in hives sometimes too. It doesn't matter if the alcohol is not refined like
No.
a liquor,
Shot.
or if some beers have impurities that my body can't handle. I get hard breathing. I turn beet red from here up.
That's called
Basi-
anaphylactic shock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
That's basically him with well-brand vodka.
Yes. The
Like if
ABC liquor store.
Like if it's a top shelf vodka, he's fine.
yeah.
But if it's a
garbage.
well-brand vodka, yeah, he turns red.
When this ABC liquor in Inverness was open,
You used to have the circle bar?
the Circle
Circle
Bar, I was only ordering like absolutes and top end stuff, and I had 2 or 3 of them, and I'm like, man, I can't breathe. I'm hot, And somebody, you or Scott or somebody was like, your face is beat red. And
You
I went
were.
to the bathroom and I picked up my shirt, and from here up, I am just bright red, and I'm getting hives everywhere. So I went back to the bar, and I says, give me an Absolute vodka. I give her my money, and I watched her grab the ABC liquor and pour it in, and she charged me top shelf price. I said, now go get me your manager. She's like, what's the problem? I said, I need to talk to your manager. Manager comes over, we go over to the bathroom, I explained it to him. He looks at some video, and he goes, you're fired. She's like, but I made a mistake. And he says, no, you didn't, because the change that you were supposed to give him isn't in the register. So she was skimming. But it about killed me. I thought I was going to die.
It was rough.
But sometimes beer will do that, too, and I don't know if it's an
Chris,
impurity.
howdy.
I don't know if it's an
What's up,
impurity
bud?
in there or something in it.
Yeah.
It's just my body doesn't like it.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah,
I
but
had that same issue for a while when I was dealing with my sinus problems.
With whiskeys, you were
I
having that.
thought I was allergic to whiskey.
Which
Yeah.
was a shame because you
Because
really
I
like
love whiskey. I had food allergies going on that were exacerbating some sinus problems, and I didn't know about it at the time. And I would drink a beer, and my nose would get all stuffy and stuff, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I'm allergic to eggs.
Oh, okay. Well,
My life has gotten a lot better since I quit eating eggs every single day for breakfast. Because I was allergic to eggs, and I ate an egg every single day and didn't know what was wrong with me.
no liquid chickens for you.
No liquid chickens.
my father-in-law gave us duck eggs, and they're bigger than chicken eggs.
and they're like a little bit stringy. They're richer. But
They're richer, they're
they're
darker. So
really good for baking.
We cooked them up. I loved them. Had a real good flavor. Next thing you know, I look over my wife, and she's watching the stream right now. Her lips are all getting puffy, and she's like, I don't feel good. She's having a hard time breathing.
Oh no.
She was allergic to the duck eggs, so no
Wow.
more duck eggs at the
yeah.
Swingle household.
Wow. I mean, some of the things you just never even think about.
Well, who
seem a
eats
little
duck
bit
eggs?
darker.
Huh?
Do we seem a little bit darker than?
Yeah, I brightened
Usual?
up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
The sun went down.
Technical difficulties, as usual.
That should be good.
I mean, do you eat duck eggs?
I've never had one.
Oh, well, you
I've
might
had
be
it
allergic
for
to them.
for baking.
How do you
and
know?
stuff.
I know.
It's like the medications on TV. Don't take this medication if you're allergic to it. How am I
How am
Yeah,
I supposed
how
to
do you
know
know
I'm
if
allergic
you're
to this
allergic?
medication unless I take
And
it?
how
This
dumb am I if I
medication-
keep taking it and I'm allergic to it?
This medication could cause and list off a bunch of things. It's like, no, I'm good.
Like
Yeah,
I think
none
I'd
of
rather
those-
deal with allergies.
My favorite is they say don't take this medication if you're allergic to this medication, and then immediately after they say if you're taking this medication, do not stop taking this medication.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm allergic.
Yeah. But then it's like, oh, so you got allergies. Take this medicine. Side effects are, leaky anus, bleeding anus, itchy gooch, balls hitting the floor, dick stuck in a ceiling fan,
I think
Like,
whatever's
what?
wrong
No,
I
with
just,
me.
I love it when they
It's
say
better than
there,
all of
there
us,
could
I
be
and death.
or there could be irritation of the perineum, and then at the bottom there's that little test disclaimer telling you it's like, dude, if you just tell everybody it's the gooch or the
Gooch.
taint, you wouldn't have to put the disclaimer at the bottom
I wonder how many people have to look up perineum.
just to find out that it's the gooch and the taint. Speaking of medication, Stellantis is they've announced they're bringing some male enhancement medication back.
Yes, they
They're
are.
bringing their erection pill back.
Bringing the Hemi back.
Bring me any of that.
Yep.
I will give them credit. I will give them
Well-
all the credit. They saw the public's reaction, and they had two options. They could have doubled down, like other companies have, and said, "No, we're making the right decision," and lost all of their business completely.
Well, part of that is
Listen,
they
if the Challenger sounded like the Jetsons car instead of what it sounds like, I'd be okay with the electric part of it.
or if it sounded like the Wraith.
Or the Wraith.
Oh, the Charger, the new
But
Charger.
the Charger, sorry.
It looks good.
It's a really cool looking
It
car.
looks
If they
good.
had
Seeing
a
one in person.
475 horsepower SRT8 in the front with a 10-speed, that's a cool car.
Even when they put the Hurricane into it, like I'd rather it have that straight twin turbo straight six because that's really cool. Not
But, yeah,
making it going.
But the electric car that has one speaker out the back that just makes one noise going down the track, I seen one at a drag strip. People were laughing at it. They're like, it's got one sound.
Have you heard it in person? Okay, I've heard it in person. There was one coming out of Popka. You can hear it a lot farther than you think. Like, and it's not that it's loud. It's just, I guess, the way that sound's being pumped. You can. I mean, I heard it basically towards Anna Joe, all the way
the
here.
noise.
Still gay.
Why
Yeah.
fake the noise?
But it was a really
If
nice
I fire
looking
up my car, you can hear it all the way down to the Anajop. I'm not faking anything. That's just the way it sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had two options. They could have doubled down and said, no, we've made the right decision getting rid of the V8. They realized their mistake.
Well, part of that is because they axed Carlos Tavares at the head of Stellantis, and then they got basically, the American guy who's more of a car guy to go, yeah, this isn't going to be right. He stepped in, and that's kind of when we're going to bring this back because that was dumb.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they came out and said it. They were like, hey, we hear you. We understand we messed up. This is our fault. We're doing what we can to fix it. The V8's coming back.
Are they going to stick the V8 in that car, though?
There's already plans to put the twin turbo 6 in that car.
I'll be on board with that.
So more than likely,
the new straight six, the Hurricane, which I've seen them. We saw them at Sick Week, and that
yeah, there was two different vehicles at Sick Week that was running them, and
they sound
I got a friend
good.
that's got one in the pickup.
They sound good, and also, who doesn't love a fucking straight six? I mean
they were.
they're awesome.
Well, these were like the ones that they had were supplied by Chrysler, and they're just pretty much they really didn't do anything to them. But
They
they
didn't
had 'em
unlock anything. It
They had
was
'em
a
run-
stock ECU, stock transmission programmer, all that, and they were running fucking tens.
Yeah, running. I think they're running the 1050 class.
Yeah, one of them had it in a second gen Dakota.
Yeah.
And goddamn, that thing's
Well,
fucking
it's
cool.
like the first time I went to a drag week and I heard a Toyota Corolla sitting at the start line going.
Oh, that's the Mighty Car Mods now.
Got a
Benny.
super motor in
Yep.
it. I went over. It's got a Barra. I'm like, even cooler.
The bear. Oh, the bear.
No, that's the car. They built that on Mighty Car Mods, and then
Shipped it over.
Moog and Marty eventually gave it to Ben Neal from Benny's Custom Works, and he's been campaigning the
There's
car ever
something
since.
about a straight six sitting on a trans brake, bumping into the line.
There's
I'm like,
one.
that sounds really
There's
cool.
one in Bradenton that did one of the videos with Cletus in it, and it's a S197 like Springer's body style Mustang with the Barra in it, and it works.
Yeah.
It like just and seeing it works.
Yes.
It works. Like that's a sound that. Yes, it's not a giant V8,
Well,
doing
Adam-
stuff, but that it's so
Adam LZ.
clean sounding.
Adam LZ, the drifter, he's got a GT350 that was on
Yeah,
Cletus' channel.
That burnt.
Him and Colette were driving it at the firm. They were tracking it, like doing track things, and
With the
the
stock
oil
motor,
cooler,
right?
yeah, the oil cooler vibrated loose, blew oil out onto the headers, and it caught fire and burned. Well, he ended up, between Ford and the insurance company, and they all came to an agreement, and he kept the car, and he Barra swapped it, and with a sequential transmission, and that thing is absolutely insane.
Listen, I like the Barra motor, and we really kind of got cheated out of a
We did.
decent engine. Ford
Yeah.
should have brought that motor here. I mean, they gave them a 4-cam 5.4 in the Falcon.
Yeah, that was the
We never got
AU?
it except in the GT5 or the GT500 and the
we did
Ford
cut,
GT.
we did get it. It was in the Navigator.
Yeah,
Yep.
that doesn't count though. The thing weighs 7,000 pounds.
That's true. But yeah, they put it in the Falcons.
but
and
we
the
should
Falcon
have got
utes.
the Barra,
Yeah.
and at least in a truck, just to swap it into other things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's one of those. GM kind of gave us one with the 4.2 Vortec that was in the Trailblazers, and it was a 4.2 straight six.
Yeah, the
and that.
the Atlas 4200.
Yeah.
And those
And the-
people are doing.
Yeah, and there's one guy on YouTube, Nivlak57 Calvin, who's been campaigning those things for a few years now, and has actually got companies like Artec interested in. There's a few people that are starting to build real performance parts for those
'cause
Atlases.
they got a
and
pretty good bottom end to them. Like they take power pretty good.
yeah,
And they're good and stout.
Aren't they deep skirted like an LS?
I believe so.
yeah.
I mean, that's really what's.
And the second gen have variable cam timing on the intake cam, so you can tune them like that too. So I mean, he's gotten his cars to go pretty quick and made 1,000 horsepower with
And
them.
you can get those motors so fucking cheap from a junkyard.
You know,
like,
I'm
literally.
old because when I hear 1,000 horsepower, I'm still 17 years old going.
It's
a
impossible.
pro street car, pro stocker.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
it's
it's a
not
complete
it's
stock
not a
bottom end
4-liter
stock.
with a 90mm turbo on it and fuel injection.
Yeah,
Right.
It's not one of those where you can literally take my car out there, that completely stock, just put a 98mm turbo onto it, and boom, there you go. Stock intake, stock throttle body, stock head, stock bottom end, stock everything. There you go. You got 960 to the wheels.
Yeah, but like when we were growing up and stuff like that, like if you know, like a 400 horsepower car, like a modified car
We
that
were
makes
talking about
400
that
horsepower,
before,
is like now it's like stock cars do that.
Right.
Yeah,
But
no,
back
What
in
was
the
400 horsepower in 1990? A
That was-
Ferrari GT.
that was Porsche 959 Carrera 4 Turbo,
Right.
really expensive shit.
F40s.
And
yeah,
those-
the F40, that's what I
Yeah.
meant.
You know, but those cars, those were like really expensive, really exotic cars. But if you
now
had,
your Honda Odyssey has that.
But, like,
and
if-
all-wheel drive.
but if you had a, if
and
you
a
had,
vacuum built into it, okay?
but if you had a, but in back in our day, like if you had a Fox body that was laying down 400 horsepower to the wheels, holy hell!
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
you spent
basically everything.
You spent the price of the car in the car and just motor work.
But I mean,
yeah.
and even then, that was not a real streetable 400 horsepower.
Well, before I
That
moved
thing
here,
was-
I knew a guy that had a supercharged Celine in '89 that made
Now was it roots?
300.
Was it root style or
No, it
was
was
centrifugal?
yeah, it made 350 horsepower.
And that was like
And
wow.
That was like the scariest car
Uh-huh.
I've ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
Because my Mustang, I thought was fast when I got it, but I always compared it to that car.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's not that fast.
Yeah.
But
I was
yeah,
saying,
that
he was at the point of almost splitting the block.
yeah.
He made enough power, he split the block. Well, yeah, those those Windsors will split the block at 380
Well, the
horse.
302.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Split the block at 380 horsepower. That's it.
Unless you use a junkyard Power Stroke turbo and you put in the Rotson,
Yeah.
Right.
which Finnegan did by the Rotson.
Yeah. But no, it's what we were before you got here. We were talking about that because at that point it's like, what did the vet have? 260 and that, and it's like that was like,
Yeah.
Remember the guy
holy
we called
shit.
Taco?
Taco,
275.
which was weird because
Yeah.
he was an Italian guy.
I know. Yeah. Well, I don't know why we call him that.
just
Maybe
one,
he called himself that. I
I don't know,
remember.
just one of those things that popped up.
Yeah. But he had a 1990 Corvette that he thought was the baddest thing ever made.
Well,
A
what year
C4
was it?
Corvette today is kind of slow.
But what year
It's
was
very
that? then?
slow.
Yeah, yeah.
It was probably an 89,
No, what year? Like
90, 1990,
Yeah,
1991.
so that was brand new. That was 2-year-old. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the fastest car.
Well,
like hell
and then
yeah,
even
man.
the ZR1, what'd that have? 400? Did it have 400?
390,
it was
I
I think it was 375 or
And
something
that
like
was
that.
considered to us a
Yeah.
supercar.
Oh yeah.
Because it was years before we saw
Well, also that
Yeah.
motor, man. That I gotta give him credit for that motor.
Yeah,
That
it
motor
was,
is-
it was literally years before I was.
It was a magazine car that we'd never seen before.
Yeah.
The first time we saw one, I was like, holy crap, that's a ZR1 on the side.
It's like, wow, they exist.
Yeah.
And those things are. I gotta admit, those things are freaking awesome.
You know,
Like those things are awesome.
To this day.
You look at
Yeah.
that motor. That motor is.
I
pretty.
mean, like I said,
It's a
as
pretty
as
motor.
just an engineering exercise that General Motors did at that time, General Motors and Mercury Marine did at that time.
Let's see what we can do.
That's
Yeah.
an impressive car.
Yeah.
And even today, when you look at it and you think about when it was built and what they did, that's an impressive car.
Well, that was during a time when
It had
random
a
work.
warranty, air conditioning.
Yeah,
It
right.
drove nice, didn't overheat. It's quiet.
It's one of those. That's
So you
when
didn't want it to be?
Yeah.
Marine engine companies got
Yeah,
into
like
cars.
the Ford SHO.
Yeah, with Yamaha
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that stuff, and which that still to this day that is the prettiest intake. Those intake runners are that whole. You pop the hood, you see that's
It's
Yeah.
just sitting
that
in
is
the wrong
pretty.
direction.
Well,
Yeah,
yes.
it is sitting in the wrong
But
direction.
still, you look at that's.
It should have been
Speaking of
all-wheel drive.
speaking of sitting in the wrong direction, so XR4 Ti's Ford Sierras, and then they had the Escort, the all-wheel drive longitudinal engine Ford Escort, the RS. Turns out, it's more than just a modified Escort to make that. The underpinnings of that car is actually a shortened Sierra
Oh, yeah.
platform that they used to build that all-wheel drive, and somehow got it homologated as an Escort.
And those are pretty too. Like I always loved like the Sierras, and then that Escort just always blew my mind.
Back in the day, there were 25 of those cars that were legally imported to the U.S. and
Really?
sold for U.S. roads.
Bill Yates have one.
No, but the last I had heard, I think there were 12 of them still registered in the U.S.
Those things are, especially a blue one.
Oh, yeah.
But blue. But with the Sierra Cosworth, the RS 500, it has to be that almost light regatta blue, that blue silver. That.
Or the purple.
See, I like that blue silver the best.
Well, I
That-
know because your
I know,
attachment
I know,
to
but-
Regatta Blue.
God,
But
that color. Oh,
yeah, to your first car, I know the color. I know the reference to your first car, but the purple that was on them, the metallic purple that
purple
was
is
on them,
nice.
looked pretty
Purple
wild.
Was it purple or plum?
Plum.
Plum,
But
or plum.
yeah, it was like 86 or 7 they did that color on
I
that
think
car.
it was 87.
With
It was like the last year they
I
did
think
it.
I
yeah,
remember
but
the
that
color.
that color car with gold meshes,
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
Any 80s car with gold meshes on it. Come on.
That's true.
Come on. If
Every-
I could find
but
a,
it-
if I could find an
No.
find a set of Enki 92, what was it, the Enki 92s?
Something like that.
And
yeah,
that-
those were the ones
Yeah,
that the
ones
Skyline fitment.
Yeah, that Dylan
me-
had that I should have bought for $150 and I was
There's
like,
only
nah,
one
man.
car from the 80s that should have gold mesh wheels. And that's a Trans Am.
Yeah, well.
Everything
Those are
else-
snowflakes. We're talking about basket weaves.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
no, the basket wheel on the GTAs. I know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah, that's
talking
what
about.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Like
yeah,
like
Yeah,
the
that was
87,
kinda-
88 GTAs. No,
Yeah,
it
that
was a basket weave like
For
that.
me,
Yeah,
that's
but it
the only
wasn't.
wheel.
But it wasn't the Ankies, the BBS.
No,
that
no.
was that was whatever vendor GM
No,
was
but
using.
like so the ones that were on the later Salines and
Yes.
that, like the basket weave ones. So those were actually I believe they were the Enki. They were Enkies, but I think they were the 92s and that. But the funny thing is with the R32, Fox Body and Skyline R32 have the same bolt pattern,
Same bolt
Really?
pattern,
which is crazy
same
because not
offset,
a lot of cars
same
had that.
hub diameter.
Did not know that.
So years ago, our friend Dylan had imported in a R32. It was a base four-door automatic
Four-cylinder automatic sedan.
CA18 automatic, and he had the hubcap wheels on it and all that. And he stupidly got rid of the stock Skyline hubcaps, and all. And was like, those are
yeah,
worth money
who
now.
keeps those?
Exactly. But he put on these 1892s, and then he was trying to get rid of them, and he was selling the car for that or something. And I'm like,
Mike could have
oh,
bought a set of.
like, and I
Mike
kinda-
could have bought a
and-
set
and
of
our-
15-inch
our
Yankee
friend
92s.
Trevor was like, those are we got those off of a Fox Body to put on that. They'll fit your car. I'm like, shit. So
And
I
they were
tried
black centers. They were already the right color.
I didn't realize there were 4 lugs.
Yeah, and he's like, oh,
Well,
$150. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, let me
Base
get paid and all
model, like
that. And
base model Skylines and stuff like that, were 4 lug.
Yeah.
You didn't get into a 5 lug
until you got into GTSTs.
even a GTS.
Okay, I thought it
It's
was
just odd that
Once
they
you got
would
the 6-cylinder.
bother changing them. Why, just
Once you got the 6-cylinder car, you got up to 5 lugs, and then obviously the GTR was the top of
But-
the line. Unless you got an N1, that was really the race car.
But it was.
you guys know those cars more than I do.
Yeah.
But I should have bought it. I waited too long, and then he sold the car, and I was like, I almost got those for $150, and I originally thought they were reps. Then I found out no, they were actual Yankees, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And they had tires on them. I'm like, just the wheels alone was like $500 worth, and
Yeah.
now even thousands now if you find a good set of original ones. I still kick myself for that.
Yeah, original
Still
ones that
kick
aren't
myself.
corroded up and that
They
are,
were
or
in
don't have
really,
cracks in them
really
or haven't
good
taken a
condition.
curb strike or.
I mean, they had some rash, but it wasn't bad. It was
Yeah.
easily fixable. Oh man,
But that was the
they
thing
would have
about-
looked so good on the
But
car.
that was the thing about those wheels. The paint wasn't flaking off of them. The centers weren't corroded. They didn't have any
Still
cracks
had
in them.
all centers.
So they're
Yeah.
survivor wheels.
Yeah, they were like it
basically.
was a complete set of wheels that a little bit of curb rash on the rim is one thing, but like I said, this didn't have any of the major things like where the two pieces bolt together, corrosion in behind the bolts. It didn't have any of that. It didn't have any of the coating flaking off of the center, so that wasn't. They were a good set of wheels. And they would have looked perfect on the Apopka 86.
How many times we look back at things we should have bought, should have kept,
Well,
had an opportunity to get a hold of?
well, it's even with the 86 again on the fact that I went for the second time to look at it and I ended up buying it, and because the first time when it came up I found it. I sent it to Tom, and this was back with Craigslist. This was also in.
This is when Tom still lived here.
Yeah, this was 2011,
Talking about Tom
2012.
Tate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2011, 2012, and I sent it to Tom and that, and I'm like, because at this point we had done work on the Cobra, and we were working on it at his house. I had to take his 86 to Gulf Coast Ford.
Oh, the trooper car?
Yeah, I had to take it up to Ford to go get a motor mount for it because we ended up breaking the motor mount while trying to do something with the header. And so he's like, go take the car. He's like, I already called him. They got it in stock. Go. I'm like, okay. He's like, take the trooper. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, just go. I'm driving it. And I'm like, I missed my car. I'm like, I even though the Cobra's one of my dream cars, I'm like, nope, okay, I'm already thinking in my head when I get back, I should just tell him, just bolt the thing back together. I'm gonna sell it. I need another Fox. We get it back together. I find this car. I was gonna see if the guy would, because again, I was 18, didn't have fucking money. I had a car with a clean title. We want to do a trade. Didn't want to do a trade. Car disappeared off of Craigslist. Thought it got sold. This was in like March or April. Well, then it was November. It popped back up again. Saw it. Realized it was the same thing. Called the guy. I'm like, hey, Jeremy, I can't. He's like, oh yeah, no. He's like, I still don't want to do a trade. I'm like, I understand that. I'm like, but I want to come back out, look at the car, and like, I'm gonna try to make something work. And I brought Tom with me, and then I didn't even bring Sabrina. I brought Tom. I'm like, hey, picked up Tom. We went out and looked at it. Me and Tom drove it around the neighborhood, all that. Came back, and on the way back, Tom's like, you need to buy this car. And I'm like, do you like it a lot? He's like, no, I like it a lot. He's like, if you don't buy it, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? He's like, no, if you don't buy it, I'm buying it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't have any money. Let me go to the bank and see if I can get a loan. Never had credit in my entire credit card, anything. So I ended up opening up a credit line. Well, I got my first credit card. It was only $100 starter credit card. But that made it to where I then had a credit score.
Yes.
Because I literally had 0. And they're like, you don't have a credit score. I'm like, is that good? They're like, no. Like,
No,
we'd
that's
rather you
worse than
have,
bad.
like, bad. And I'm like, okay. They're like, how much do you want? I'm like, I just want a $4,000, like that. And they're like, okay, we can do a personal loan, all that stuff. So I ended up doing that. And that's how I got the car. But it was Tom going, if you don't buy this, I'm buying it. And I'm like, I guess that means it's a good car when Tom's like,
Yeah.
if you
It
don't
did
buy
have its
that.
surprises, though.
Oh, it did, but it's still, and he still says, it's like now it's got more rust and all that stuff, but it's also next year going to be a 40-year-old car. It does that. I still think it's a 15-year-old
It just occurred to me. Your car
is what your car is.
is what my
Yeah.
car is to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an old car. It's a 40-year-old
It's an old car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's not an old car to me. I look at your car and go, that's an 86.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
still,
It's
even,
not that old.
Yeah.
but
You just said 40 and went,
well, yeah, but no,
Ooh.
even me
Ooh.
saying 40, it doesn't feel, because still growing up, that was only a 10,
It's just a
15-year-old,
car.
yeah, 10,
Yeah.
15-year-old car. You were able to buy those for $300 running, but like that was that. But kind of like with
I
your
think-
car, it was like the same
I
thing.
think the
just
Fox bodies were better cars than mine. Because mine
where yours
was
was
not
also
common growing up.
okay. Well, yeah,
They
yeah.
weren't, I don't think they lasted.
Well, 86 was also
yeah,
is also the year I think.
but
up
you also
until
grew up
2009.
up north in the Rust Belt
Yes.
and all that stuff.
Here
I
is
knew one guy that had a Boss 302, and he beat the snot out of it.
Yeah,
was it us?
No, this was in Pennsylvania. The guy had a green Boss 302, and he drove it like, I have to get to 7,000 RPM today.
Was he related to Russ?
No, I doubt it. I hope not.
are you sure?
Because
He
that
just-
sounds like somebody I know.
He just drove the wheels off that thing, so.
'Cause like I said, I rode with Russ in the '67, and I rode with Russ in the Trooper car, and
I
it was
rode with
eight-
Russ in the Cobra and nearly cried on the way back to Wendy's.
Yeah,
okay?
well, I never rode in the Cobra because I couldn't figure out how to not burn my leg on that damn thing. but-
I didn't see road. I saw road, trees, road, trees, road, trees,
He
road,
doesn't like getting
trees.
sideways.
Well, no,
it was just going down homeless Exit right after the S's by the fire station. Then it was toon 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 toon. How was that? Ah!
Yeah.
Well, that's just how Cobras drove, though.
Yeah.
They didn't have traction.
But
you just
no,
floated them.
No, no,
from
no,
the
no, no,
corner.
no.
But when you're 15 and that was like, it's like I'm gonna die. No, I'm not. I'm gonna die. No,
You
I'm
went
not.
into
I'm
that
gonna die.
corner as shallow as possible because you knew you were coming out as wide.
Yes.
As you could.
but
So
Scared
in
the
my
fuck out of me.
sim, there's one of
Your
those.
line is more of a slide.
Exactly.
My sim racer has one of those, the AC 427 supercharged, and
Oh.
I've done the lap on the Nordschleife with it. And let me tell you what, it fights you every single square inch of that track. It fights. It
but
doesn't
we're
want to
also-
go straight.
But we're also talking about Russ Gerhardt,
Yeah.
who has a penchant for breaking things. And when I rode in those two cars, it was like he looked at the stick on those cars and was like, "I'm going to break you today. I do not like you."
Yeah.
You know, it's
And-
funny you're talking about Russ. This build out here started in 2018 when Russ and I were playing around. He had a big block 67 stick car. I have a small block 70 with an automatic. We're at the drag strip, He's
Yeah.
beating me a little bit. He starts throwing some go fast parts on his. I'm thinking, all right, well, I'll do some things. And then he goes and buys a $28,000 520-inch big block. I'm like, what are you doing? come on.
And then
Right.
straps 2 hair dryers to it.
Oh, no. Puts it in his 67, and he's tuning the fuel injection, and he wrecks it 50 yards from his house, puts it on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So
His nickname is Flip.
Yeah.
So he wrecks the car, gets it back on its wheels. It's completely trashed, and that's when he bought that.
The Fairlane from
67
Rusty Gillis'
Fairlane.
shop.
Yeah, and then he put the hair dryers on it, and now the thing's making 1,500 horsepower. He finally got his 8-second pass. But
He
I'm
did.
like, I can't. There's
He-
nothing
but-
I could do to even be that.
But
fast.
also, too, to get to that, to get from Fairlane, big block in Fairlane, twin hair dryers on the big block in the Fairlane, to the 8-second pass, he broke every single part
Oh yeah.
from the flywheel back.
Yeah. Literally every single part.
And I figure y'all split again. Or do you want a full one?
No.
This is Brett's beer, so
Yeah.
let
So
Brett-
it doesn't really give a description anywhere on the can.
No,
I will say
there's
this:
no box.
I bought a 6-pack of these, and I put it on the counter at the store. I don't want to say which one. And the lady scanned it, and she says the price, and I went, "Are you sure?"
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Yeah." And she scanned it again. I paid 99 cents for a 6-pack.
what?
Hey.
So regardless of what they taste like,
Was this at Aldi?
no.
No.
This is
Okay.
at a store
I'm
with
going to make a ruling
letter
here. We haven't
and a
tasted it yet.
round symbol.
I'm going to make a ruling real quick.
Is this
We
a
haven't
Circle
tasted
K
it
beer?
yet.
Where strange things are afoot.
But if
Oh.
this tastes like beer, he wins the cheap beer challenge.
This is 99 cents for
That's
that
true.
6-pack.
That is true because we
I-
did a thing that I called I called trash can beers.
Which was, we need to do that again because it was fun as fuck.
Yeah.
It was fun as fuck.
But the only
Basically, you
problem
just
is
go
we-
in and get the big cans of just the shittiest beer we throw
Like
all
the-
into brown bags and just fucking.
We
there you
hit
go.
him
Well-
and did blind tastings.
It was great. It was
This
great.
beer comes with a unique 6-pack holder, little plastic.
Oh yeah, a lot of ours come. with us.
Right. And there's no way this costs 99 cents. That's why I verified it. Are you sure?
No, and
And she cleared it out and she went blink. She goes, 99 cents. I'm like,
And that's why I'm saying, based on price alone, he got a 6-pack of
of the taller cans.
16-ounce cans for 99 cents. Based on sheer value alone, he wins.
It's got bubbles.
If
If
There's
it
a head.
tastes like beer, he's the winner.
If it tastes like beer and we don't die.
Now I'm looking because I'm trying to make sure it doesn't say premium malt beverage.
No.
on
It
It's
says
4.2
Mile High Light
it's
Beer.
4.2% alcohol.
It does
Well,
say beer.
Well, yeah, no, I want to make because we've had.
Yeah,
God,
we-
what was that fucking cow one?
Oh,
and that,
no. I've already tasted this, so I can tell you that it tastes like a beer that I normally would drink.
Okay, because I wanted to make sure it wasn't. Well,
I'm
even though
normally
I
a
do like
Coors
cold,
Light drinker.
even though I do like.
Like I said, I'm a softie when it comes to beer.
well, you see me
It-
with banana lights and all that.
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of smells like a Kolsch.
Salute.
Chin
Salud.
chin.
I will just
Oh,
go
it
cheers.
does have a good smell to it.
That to me
That's a beer.
is how beer's supposed to taste. Just, it's a no frills
You
beer.
know what? That tastes like a mix between Natty Light and Coors Light.
It's no
Got it.
frills.
Yeah.
It's beer.
Cheap beer challenge winner.
Where'd you get this?
Circle K.
Circle K, yeah, at Rock
right.
Crusher 44.
you're-
I think she made a mistake. I'm 100% sure she made an error.
I think so too.
I think she scanned it
But I'm gonna go back and
and
try
it
to make
came
her
up
get.
for a can.
I'm gonna
even
try
with
to make that
99
mistake
cents.
again.
No.
Even
because-
99 cents for the can.
No, because a can like the cheapest, like 16-ounce can like this that they normally have is normally $1.50, and they
So-
normally have the
so
signs out front saying
Google
$1.50
Lens
beer.
it.
Every now and then, Circle K at Lecanto will have 99 cent single beers.
Yeah, but it's not this.
This,
Yeah.
this, for example, was not sitting in the clearance rack. It was actually in the cooler.
That's, huh?
So Google Lens it.
That's what
I don't know
I'm
who
gonna
makes it. I don't know anything about it. I tried looking. It really doesn't have a whole lot of information.
So we got
You know, usually there's
Tivoli
a,
Brewing Company, Denver, Colorado.
so it could be Coors Light in disguise.
It could
Where
be
is it?
at the bottom of the Surgeon General's warning.
But at any rate, I got it a couple of weeks ago. A buddy brought it over and I tasted it, and I'm like, that actually tastes pretty good.
It's beer.
Yeah.
Punch the pickaxe. Outlaw Daredevil since 1859. Enjoy the gold.
Party foul.
Party foul.
It was this foam in there. Okay, so According to Google Lens by AI Overview, the can in the image is an Outlaw Mile High Light Beer, a light lager with 4.2%. It is brewed in Denver, Colorado, and describes as normal shit. Outlaw is a brand that has several different alcoholic beverages. It has Outlaw Bourbon Whiskey, Outlaw Sake, Outlaw Vodka, Outlaw Corn Liquor,
So
Outlaw Whiskey.
They make booze.
And then Jesse James, America's Outlaw Spirits.
Well, when Brian said he hadn't had this one, I said, let me bring it.
Yeah, he sent me a picture. I'm like, no, we have not had that one before.
I wanted to bring beer from the Azores, but they don't export. We had a few different types that were pretty good, but they don't let them leave the Azores.
Yeah, some countries are tricky.
Yeah.
It's even tricky when I'm just like I've had like Facebook beer companies talking about the beer they've come out with, and I'm like, yo, how do I buy one out of state and get you to ship it to me?
Oh, you live in
we
Florida?
can't do
No,
that.
can't do that.
Yeah, because there was one that was.
You ever see Smoking the Bandit?
Mhm.
You have to do that.
There was a company.
You know, that
was
is the
making
one nice thing
a-
now is that
20
now we can get Coors Banquet and don't have to race to Texarkana to get it.
Right.
Thank God.
Although, racing to Texarkana does sound kind of fun.
Yeah.
Should have been like $7 for the 6
Yeah,
pack.
like I said, I verified the price twice, and even if it was an error, I made the attempt.
Oh, he's hunting.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why I made the ruling that
gecko.
you won.
Also, his tail
Because
curve
just
back.
based off of sheer value, even if it was a clerical error, you got a 6-pack of 16-ounce cans for 99 cents, and it was drinkable.
Yeah, you got to
The
drink.
winner.
Yeah,
It's
drinkable.
not horrible.
Drinkable.
Real
A drink. A
man
drink.
Juniors.
Yeah, you got an actual drinkable beer 6-pack for 99 cents. You did, relatedly,
Actually, it's more like an 8-pack.
kinda, or 16s.
You got to do the math right.
So
So it's even cheaper.
No, it's more like a 7-pack. Because you got four, which is 8. Then
So every 4 is every 3 is an extra, isn't it?
every 4 is an extra.
4 times 6.
Yeah, so every 4 is
We're doing math.
No, we're not.
Huh?
It's not. It's not.
We're
thing.
trying to
We
do
shouldn't be doing the math.
No, we're not. We're not.
That's an extra 47 horsepower, right?
Speaking of 47 horsepower, I saw one of the local Festivas on the way here, the teal one.
Oh yeah, that teal one is nice. I saw that yellow
They
Porsche.
still
I think
make
it's
those in Europe, by the way.
yeah.
They're still all over the place. They're
Well-
called Pumas.
Oh, I love the Puma, man.
Here's the weird thing. Up until about 6 years, less than that, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, right after COVID, I think it was, in India, under the Datsun nameplate, you could still buy a brand new 1992 Sentra
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
with less crash protection than an actual 1992 Sentra.
It was the only
Because
car
India.
with a
Zero NCAP
star.
rating.
Yep.
0.
You crashed at 30 miles per hour, you're dead. Literally, the steering wheel would impale your chest.
You know, India's not known for their safety.
That is true.
Well, I mean, look what just happened.
You know,
Yeah.
but
That airplane didn't leave the ground because the flaps weren't deployed. Watch the video.
yeah.
They're sorry. See the one guy? He just walked out of that airplane. Just walked out. He limped, but he had a cell phone in his hand, like calling his family.
He's the one that caused the damn thing to go down.
He still had
His
both,
cell phone on.
and you know what though? He had both legs. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. It's called Unbreakable. One guy survived the airplane crash.
Yeah, he wasn't wearing the one
Train
sign.
He's a
crash.
superhero.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I've never been on a big commercial plane like that, but don't they have a sign that says like to hide all your cell phone devices and your communication?
You've never been in a big airplane?
No.
Really? You're missing
Well,
out.
yo, I lied. I had, but I was 9 months old.
It's like riding a bus that goes way up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much that's a good.
I've been in a
description
little
of it.
I've been in a little Cessna.
But the liftoff is like the fastest drag car you've ever been in
Yeah.
for 30 seconds.
Well, that's longer than a drag car.
It is like a Greyhound.
That's a
bus.
half-mile
It is
drive.
like it is like a Greyhound bus. It's a metal tube with the dregs of society contained
Exactly.
inside.
That's literally what you're doing.
That has a bathroom
And-
that is there but shouldn't be used, but is used for the wrong
A bit of word of
reasons.
advice: if you ever pick your airplane seats, even though it sounds like it'd be convenient to sit next to the bathroom, don't.
No,
It smells.
Don't. And that doesn't smell. It's the door slams every 3 seconds.
Uh-huh.
Wham! When you're trying to sleep, Nobody lets the door close quietly. They just let it slam, and it shutters the whole airplane.
Damn it. Assholes.
Yes.
Yeah, never.
There's also a reason why first class is at the front of the plane. The back of the plane is where you hear the engines.
Funny thing is, the people that are in the back are usually the ones who live.
That's true.
Yeah, the ones in the front of the crumple zone.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he was in what 11A, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like,
he was kind of a little bit back of. He was behind first class.
Yeah. But
I'm trying to think of if there was a car spot that I had this week.
A what?
Car spot. I did see a Bonneville SSEI
Ooh.
in that, and it was nice dark hunter green with a tan cloth interior, and it looked really good.
Those are nice.
I just really want one of the late '90s, early 2000 Pontiacs. If I could scoop one up cheap, I really want one.
I saw a Subaru Sandbar at Dollar General by my house the other day.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm probably going to have to come on another time, because I really want to talk about what that kid said to me about the car
Go ahead.
culture in Europe.
Go for it.
You have time.
So,
Yeah, we can run over.
anybody
It's
that doesn't
fine.
know, I went to Portugal recently.
I don't think anybody knows.
Well, me and my wife went to Portugal for vacation. We went to Lisbon, Portugal, which is on the mainland, and then we went to the Azores, which is a chain of islands in the middle of the Atlantic. And I am excited because you guys are always talking about BMWs and Porsches and stuff like that. So I want to see what Europeans drive. And I got there, and I was really disappointed.
Wasn't Portugal in South America?
No.
No.
No. around
Geography.
Spain. Near Spain.
Oh yeah. I'm bad
It's
with
like
that.
a little cutout of
Yes.
Spain.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm thinking of the other one.
The cars are super little. They're super
Wrong
boring.
side of the planet, bud.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm
Wrong
thinking of the backpackers.
Are you thinking about Peru?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been there too.
And also, too, when he was there, he sent me a picture of a Dodge truck, and he was like, "Shit, am I looking at?" I'm like, "You're looking at something that's supposed to be coming to the U.S. in about 2 years."
Oh, the Rampage?
The Rampage, but never, probably won't now. But
Well, and they drive your truck for cop cars in Peru. The Ford Ranger,
Oh yeah.
it's a cop car.
Yeah, that's a European car.
Yeah,
well, that
it's a
thing's
cop
been
car.
around the rest
Well,
of
I
the
mean,
world
it's South America.
Yeah.
well, no, that-
the Ford Ranger everywhere else in the world
since
never
20
left.
since 2012. That truck's been around the world since 2012.
Never saw one of those in Portugal. I can't speak for the rest of Europe. I mean, I wasn't there. I did see a regular Ford Ranger like mine, because I consider mine a regular Ford Ranger because of how long they had it in production. It's basically the same exact truck for 30 years.
Pretty much.
But anyway, the cars were super boring. They're really little. Nobody customizes them. They're stock wheels, no tint. I mean, just boring. It's the only thing I could say. Your old car, your old Focus, was a badass mofo in Portugal.
It was badass over here.
Well, that's like a.
Oh, yeah,
I seen
yeah.
one roll through, and I'm like,
Did you see a two-door version
it
of it?
looks huge.
Uh.
Yeah, I did actually see a two-door version of it, and it said Escort.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was aftermarket. It looked bone stock. Because I looked at it for a while, I'm like, it looks like a Focus, but it only had two doors.
Because
So-
they did do the two-door Focus ST, and God, and also they got the Estate
They-
one.
they also-
got the Estate Focus ST, and
And they also did the two-door Fiesta STs.
and those things were awesome.
Well, our hotel concierge, he's a younger guy, he's like 26. We were talking to him, he's really cool. He's a car guy. I'm like, oh, finally, I meet a car guy. He's talking about restoring his grandfather's Mercedes, I forget what it was a four-door diesel.
The W.
Probably a W190.
It's like from
yeah, like
1990.
that.
You
Yeah.
know? And so I'm like, I don't see a lot of old cars here. He said, well, that's because anything older than 20 years, when you trade them in, they crush. I'm like, what? He
Well,
goes,
we did that back in what,
Unless-
2007?
but that's the standard
Yeah.
issue thing.
Yeah,
He goes,
cash for
if you
clunkers.
don't, if you keep it forever, you can keep it. They make it like kind of hard. You have to get special tags and there's rules. I'm like, oh wow, that stinks.
Stinks.
So I started telling him about my Mustang, and he's like, I don't know what that looks like. I've heard about him, so I showed him that video of me
Got it.
tuning.
Got it.
You got it. Oh,
Yep.
he's shaking it. He's getting it.
Sorry, this is what we do once it gets
No,
dark.
no, no.
We watch the geckos fucking.
I had a
go
gecko
after
on my
it.
porch. I had 3 legs for years.
I knew him.
He lost his tail. That one's growing back. We had one that was twice his size that
I'm gonna
lived
take
up
a picture
here.
of my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had one that was twice his size that lived up here. One day he was above the door. He fell down and landed in Lemmy's mouth. Literally landed in Lemmy's mouth, and seriously, he was like this big. He was fucking huge.
So anyway, I showed him a video of me tuning me and Russ tuning the car for idle, and he looked at it. He goes, "Oh no way! You could never drive that here. That's legal in the United States." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh no, you'd go to jail here. They'd crush that." I'm like, "What do you mean they'd crush it?" He goes, "You drove that on the roads here? No way." He goes, "I don't even know if you could drive it anywhere here." He's like, "That's way too loud." And he's like,
You know, and it's funny to hear you say like your experience right there in the area that you were at, because coming up in Poland is an annual car show called Ultrace, and all kinds of modified cars from all over the world end up there.
I think some of that has to do with being formerly part of the Soviet Union or being influenced by the Soviets.
Maybe,
'Cause
but
I've met some people from that area at Drag Week.
yeah.
Moldova. And that
Oh,
guy
they were the
Taurus.
they were the
Ford
run.
Taurus. But
Wait a
it's
minute.
not unlike anything we have. It was
Wait a minute, no,
rear-wheel
it
drive,
wasn't a Taurus. It was the Tannis,
Oh, the Tannis.
the Ford
Yes.
Tannis. That's what that was.
He did say that, but he put Taurus stickers on it.
Yeah.
He Americanized
Oh,
it.
he's back.
He also put a 351 Windsor in it with a turbo.
Oh, well, that's like the Swedes that we met, that we
Yeah.
ended up becoming friends with, and you know, we talked about the Stockholm Open and all that, which is crazy. He's like, yeah, I have. He has a Model T. Was it a Model T or a Model
A?
A Model A that has 1,000 horsepower, fucking blown big block
Model
in
A?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
With
he-
1,000 horsepower
Those cars are sketchy.
blown big block. He's like, I take it out, instantly put it in, because I'm gonna get arrested.
But their rules are weird because that car's in 1931. Didn't have emissions in 1931,
Yeah.
so it's a gray area they can play with.
But he's like, I take it out, I drive around the block, I need to put it away. Because he's like, and we had a wonderful when we
were at Leadfoot, while you
waiting
guys
for
were on the
y'all.
road, we were kind of waiting for y'all, well, see if y'all were going to, and everything else while we were there. We were talking about, because we were getting updates from you guys, and we were kind of talking about it, and he was like, yeah, I couldn't help but over here that, you're talking about, and I was like, oh yeah, the guy in the red 67 Fairlane, the twin turbo car and everything else. He's like, oh, and he's like, I'm here, I'm following my friends, and then he was like, who are your friends? And he's like, everybody calls them the Swedes. I'm like, the black pro mod that used to run the Camaro, they used to run the Corvette. He's
him
like,
and
yeah.
his family are literally friends with them. They came over from Sweden
Yeah.
their vacation was to follow them.
For Sick Week.
Yeah.
So we ended up hanging out with them.
Awesome.
We ended up hanging out with them for most of the
like
night.
hours.
And
over
then,
that day.
they said, you guys going to every race? Like, no, we're just going here for tonight, and then we'll probably be at Gainesville on, day 4. We're probably going to plan to go to Gainesville. He's like, oh, cool, we'll see you there. Gainesville's a big place. There's a lot of people there. We're
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, whatever.
we
We're
ran
walking
into
around.
them at the Swedes.
We were walking around, and he was like, hey, Mike, Sabrina, Brian, come on over.
That's pretty cool.
it was fucking awesome. Yeah, so we got to go over by the Swedes and all that.
I do want to go to other parts of Europe, but I can tell you that in Portugal, the car culture is
Almost
pretty
non-existent. Like I said, we'd get the occasional message from Brett, or he'd send me a picture of something weird that he saw. You're like, what the hell am I looking at?
And the electric car thing they're super stoked about electric cars, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
really
but
care.
like we were talking about earlier, like the size of the place, I can understand. For us, it's the technology isn't there yet with the range for us.
So
Well, and we're not in a big city, so
They
it's,
do-
like
they
I can
do-
understand that. But like with the size of the thing, like we were talking about, you can go around the entire island 5 times on a single
one
charge.
of the weirdest
like,
things that I saw there is that it's town, 15 miles of road, squiggly lines,
Mhm.
town. There's no houses in between.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like Isle of Man.
Yeah,
Town, squiggly roads, nothing in between, town.
yeah.
So they do rally racing.
Rallies and hill climbs are huge.
Yeah.
They do that, but the kid was telling me that none of our cars that we drive are our rally cars. Those are actual race cars. Nobody ever,
Yeah.
there's no license on them. I'm like,
FIA class cars do have license plates on, but they have what's known as a transit tag.
well, I mean, for them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like I said, those are cars that are race cars, but they have a special type of license plate that's a transit tag because they're racing on the public roads, but then they also have to use the public roads to get to another section of,
Right,
another
right.
another rally stage. So they have a transit
So
plate
it's
on
kind
them.
of like
so-
our transport tags.
It was just
But
sad
it's
though
for
to
race
see
cars.
not what I thought. I thought I'd
Yeah.
see like a lot of M cars.
Now, if you
know,
probably would have
a lot
gone,
of AMG cars.
if you probably
Right.
would have gone inland more, and that like to like.
If you'd gone, if you'd gone like,
I
in,
did see one Huracan
Yeah.
in Lisbon,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like a car that you would see as a supervillain in a DC Comics. It looked so out of place. It looked so
big.
big. It looked like a spaceship amongst these teeny tiny little
Yeah.
cars. And oh, by the way, they have, you like roundabouts?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't like roundabouts. They have 3-layer roundabouts. One in the middle, outside, and outside one. I'm like looking at it from like our hotel room. Go, how will you maneuver this?
Hey guys,
I was gonna say put them in Paris.
I was gonna say wait till he sees the roundabout around the Arc de Triomphe.
It's literally 18 lanes
it
wide,
wasn't-
no rules. Just
It
go.
wasn't 18 lanes. It wasn't 6 lanes. It was 3 2-lane roundabouts, separate of each other. I'm like, how do you?
Follow
There's
this
signs that show you that if you want to go over there, you have to go through all 3 of these, and like they're. It's time to go.
No, actually, I was
No,
thinking.
no,
actually,
no,
I was
no,
thinking
no,
about
we're-
watching somebody go through it, but listening to Yakety Sax from
No,
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 it
no.
was-
At
it
that
was-
point, didn't
We
yes,
walked everywhere. I wasn't going to drive no place.
Right.
Yes gave you the wonderful song on how to go through a roundabout. You just listen
No,
to
I
a
think
roundabout.
roundabout. I think, hey kids, there's Parliament, Big Ben.
Yeah.
You know the
Because-
base the
Yes.
baseline. The baseline is how you go through that roundabout.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that the
It just looks super confusing to me.
But yeah, like I said, it was pretty cool. Like I said, when he went to Peru, like I said, he sent me the picture of the Dodge truck, and I was like, dude, they're rumoring that thing to come to here in like 2 or 3 years. That was the Rampage. So far, it hasn't.
The coolest truck I saw in all of Portugal was actually a Raptor Ranger.
Yeah.
And it looked like my F-250 on 44s.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge
Compared to everything
compared to
else.
everything else.
I was gonna say
It's a
here-
little truck,
I was gonna say here you see them and you're like, oh,
but
look
it
at that.
looked huge.
See, in their Raptor, they've had the Raptor over in Europe
For a couple of years now.
Years.
Yeah.
Like 5
And
or
it's
6
a
years now.
different. Like their Rangers are set up different. I don't know how closely
I
you
was
paid
gonna say,
attention.
I think the Raptor R's are over there. Aren't they diesel? Aren't they the diesel ones?
They can be. They have a diesel
Is it-
engine
okay,
option.
yeah.
But like their bumpers, right? They're not American style bumpers. Our Rangers have an American truck bumper. It's a separate piece that unbolts, and
Yeah.
theirs have
They're molded.
molded
in.
bumpers all the way through.
I didn't notice that. It
yeah,
looked
their,
like an
their,
American
their
one.
cars are totally different.
It looked brand new. It just looked huge
Mm-hmm.
compared to, well, whatever that side-by-side.
Yeah, the Citroen Ami.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sent me that
It
little
looked like
thing.
an RC car. I was looking for somebody with like a.
But it was,
Yeah.
but it was funny. Like I said, because of the issues he was having with the internet and call it what it is, censorship and stuff over there. Like Google Lens doesn't always work. He had a hard time accessing like the Citrus County Chronicle or Citrus County Sheriff's Office Department. So he sends me this picture. He was like, "What in the shit am I looking at?" And I'm like, "I think it's a Citroen City car. Give me a minute." And I found out that it was Citroen Ami, and that's when I texted him back, and I was like, God damn, I'm good.
Yeah.
And sent him what it was, and at the same time, he had managed to find out what it was, but
It just was the smallest car I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Yeah, they redefine what a small car is over there.
Well, I found out it's not actually called a car. It's considered a side-by-side motorcycle.
Yeah.
but also, I think one of the things you sent me was a Nissan Micra.
Yes.
Oh, I love the Micras.
Yeah.
I love the Micras.
He sent me, and I was like, holy shit, or no, it was a Daihatsu Mira.
ah,
It was a
even
Mira.
better.
Like I said,
Yeah,
he sent me
yeah.
the picture, and I'm like, there's something vaguely familiar about that. And I looked at it, and I saw it. I was like, holy shit, it's a Daihatsu Mira.
Yeah. There were some cars I've never seen in my life. But they'd fit in this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, right. They're super tiny, and I get it. The roads are super tiny. They were made for horses and buggies, and they have no desire to
But also,
accommodate bigger.
but also too. I mean, outside of like Italy's Autostrada and Germany's Autobahn, which were wartime projects and things like that, where they primarily built it in open space that wasn't densely populated. Their land mass. There's so many countries in such a small land mass. It just again, they don't understand like the size of their countries relative to the just sheer
Yeah.
size of the
Well-
United States.
Well, and even like you were saying, like how there's a town, then squiggly roads in a
They
town.
don't let you build outside of town.
Yeah, like so that town, everything's there. Like
Like all of this up and down a Popka,
Yeah.
to them is confusing.
Yeah.
Why are you building so far away
Yeah,
from town.
but that's the
You
thing.
can't
Like,
walk there. Why would you want to live
like
there?
so, but that's that they don't.
They
need,
want apartments. They want to
Yeah.
be close to town. They want to walk. I get it. It's fine. I'm not critiquing the way they live. It's just they critique the way we live. Like the lady that I told you worked in Colorado.
Yeah.
She said she landed in Colorado and she wanted to rent a car. And she said, I just want something small. And they rented me a Corolla 4-door. I couldn't believe how big this thing was. I'm like, a
That-
Corolla?
That's what I'm saying. Their
Camry?
idea
No,
of
she
a
said
small car
It was
is
a
totally
Camry.
different.
She said, don't you have anything smaller? And they're like, no. She's like, I couldn't believe how big this thing was. I was shocked. Where am I going to park it? Where am I going to put it? And then she goes, then I got on what you call the interstate, and she's like, okay, this is huge. These vehicles are gigantic. But she still wanted a smart car. She was looking for a place to rent a smart car. I'm like,
we haven't
I
had a
don't
smart.
recommend that.
I don't either.
But also, we haven't had a smart car in production since 2016. So
Something like that.
They're everywhere over there.
yeah.
Oh, and I gotta
they're
say,
still in production over
Like I
there.
said, the first time I saw a smart car, it was on Croft, and there was an F-250 diesel behind it. I'm just like,
It'll
nope.
fit in the bed.
And I was like, nope.
I know, but the greatest thing about those is they're not front-wheel drive. They're
Rear-wheel
they're
drive.
rear-engine rear-wheel drive, and you can really easily swap a Hayabusa motor into
Boost
it.
motor.
Smart Tukey.
You can just instantly
Or K-swap them.
And
So if
weirdly
you-
enough, it sounds like a Ferrari or an Indy car
And
coming
it's
down
so-
the
it's
road.
so
It's
cool.
faster than one.
So if you want something cool right now, I know me and Brian have seen it because we've shared it back and forth to each other many times. There's currently a Festiva, a 1989 Festiva, on Marketplace for only $15,000. It is a twin-engine Hayabusa powered.
One in the front,
Fiesta.
one in the back.
One in front, one in the back, powering all four wheels, and the picture of it on Marketplace is it whipping it shitty with all four tires fucking smoking like crazy.
Yeah, the thing is just sitting there, just pirouetting like a rally car with smoke boiling
Everyone
everywhere.
knows what the only Festiva I would drive.
Shogun.
The Shogun.
The Shogun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Leno-
I only know one person that owns one.
Leno's got
Leno.
one.
Leno. Jay Leno. I would drive that. It's bone stock, 220 horsepower.
Well, yeah,
V6.
because it's got
It's
a
a show V6.
Sitting behind you
So well,
with
that
315s on it.
that's,
There used to be a video that was on YouTube.
well, that's
probably,
basically the Renault
One-
Renault
the
5
R5. Yeah, the R5 Turbo.
5.
There was a video that was floating around on the internet. Like this was before YouTube like got popular. This is when shit was still like on Daily Motion and all the other places. It was a YouTube. It was a video that would just pop around like flowing through the emails. It was obviously low res and shot on a potato camera. And it was an original Mini Cooper that had a Hayabusa motor shoved
Oh,
in the
yeah.
back of it.
Yep.
And I just saw the video.
wheelie one.
Yep.
But- no, it didn't wheelie. But every time the guy would like get on it, he would shift it. You see the back of the car just go boop, 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 and then it just showed the thing just whipping shitties in the parking lot. And I was like, I sent it to him one time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want this so bad.
I would too.
I would get into so much trouble with it, but I'm okay with that.
Well, it's like the guy that came up many times to Thunder that had the original Mini with it was the B16 swap into it, and it was a bone stock B16 VTEC, but
5-speed.
dual overhead cam, 135, 140 horsepower.
A car that weighs 1,800 pounds.
But that's
It's a
But that was
GoPro.
in a- but that was in a
four
car that had-
times the
that was in a
amount
car
of
that had-
what that.
that was in a car that had 40 horsepower.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
even.
Yeah.
But then you have this wonderful Honda motor that revs to almost
To the
$9
moon.
grand fucking stock.
I drive it.
And he actually
and-
had it rolling on a set
I
of
put
like
a cage in it.
he had it rolling on a set of really sticky Dunlops on some lightweight mini lights, so really lightweight. And he was like,
And-
"Oh yeah," he's like, "Yeah, I was in the mini club up there," and he's like, "We went up to the Tail of the Dragon one time, and for some reason they said I should lead the pack down the dragon." He was like, "I didn't see him, but about," he says, 2 turns, I didn't see him anymore.
I mean, the tires on this thing, they were like shifter cart tires. They were just...
They were like that wide. They were cute.
But they
Yeah,
were...
cute.
You could look at it and just, not even with your fingernail, poke it with your regular finger, and you left an indent. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, these are
Like
these are sticky.
these were treadwear rating of like
One.
60 or 80.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Treadwear
like-
one.
Treadwear, yes.
like probably a little bit stickier than your red regulars were when you first got them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like you had to poke your fingernail
But
into
they had a
those.
sidewall.
But they had a sidewall, and yeah, they were probably a treadwear rating of say like even a 200 treadwear tire is damn near a semi-slick.
Yeah.
Like
Th-
that.
This was, it probably was a 500-mile tire, and it's done. And that's
Yeah.
500 like normal
You
miles.
don't buy them for mileage.
No.
Built for a
no.
good time, not for a long
Yeah.
time.
And
But-
that's why I said it looked like they were like shifter cart tires, like the way that they
but
were.
that thing looked like it would on any kind of twisty road would be
It
an
was so
absolute
fun. And I
blast.
think he had at least had a hoop in it. Didn't
Yeah.
have a full cage. He at least had a hoop in it.
Yeah, he had a hoop
Um,
with 2 down bars towards the back.
And he did have harnesses in
Safety.
it.
Yeah, safety
But
third.
It was,
Ish.
and it did have like I don't know how upgraded a brakes because you can't really do like giant brakes on them, but
Yeah,
it
they
did
had
have
13-inch wheels.
yeah it did
It probably had S model brakes
yeah
on
it
it.
did have drilled and slotted rotors and that. So but still with the size of it, even drums would probably stop that thing pretty decently, and that because you don't really have that much mass.
No,
going
that thing was
with it.
lightweight. Like I said, that thing was probably 1,800 pounds with him in it.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I was expecting to see, that kind of thing in Europe, and I just didn't see it.
Like I said, I think that was more to the area
Saw a
that
lot
you
of
were
boring.
out. I think if you were more into Spain, you might have seen a little bit more. But even Spain, like Spain's gone through some weird economic stuff too.
Yeah, but they still have somewhat of
So some stuff there. But yeah, I think if you would have gone further north, like if you would have got into Austria, Germany, Poland, and stuff like that, you would have found much more like car culture stuff.
Oh, you go into Austria and Germany, and yeah, that's where.
Well, it kind of reminded me of why that guy from Germany freaked out when I fired up the Mustang that time. He's like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we were out at Friday night, and this guy came up from Germany, and he was just there, and he was like, "I just come over and look at the car." So they got to talking, and he has a Mustang over there. He's like, "Yeah, it's really restricted what we can do. We have to keep things really close to stock." And he was kind of going through all of the rules that were there. And Brett's like, "Yeah, we don't have to do any of that stuff here.
that's just really kind of like, nah, we don't.
We don't have to do any of that stuff here." He's like, "I've come to notice this." He's like, "It's kind of wild." And then so Brett was getting ready to leave, and this is when he had the loud mufflers on the car. And so Daniel was the guy's name, and he was standing behind the car with his phone ready, and I'm looking at Two Legs, and I'm like, he has no idea what's about to happen right now. He has no clue
It's
he didn't
super loud.
because he
with
didn't
those
hear
mufflers.
because the car the car was already parked when he walked up, so he didn't hear the car run. So Brett gets in there, and he just like, just looked at me and Two Legs, and we just started laughing. We're like, that's the funniest damn thing ever. And he was like, there's no way this would fly on American roads.
Well,
On German roads.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I was, like I said, looking for something.
Yeah.
I just didn't find it.
I mean, you did find some weird oddball stuff that you don't find here, but you found more of the
so
car.
much boring that if I took pictures of every boring car, I'd have hundreds of pictures of boring cars that I don't even know what they
See,
are.
I absolutely love the boring cars though, because it's fun to drive a fast car, well,
Or
a
slow
slow
car
car
fast.
fast than it is to drive a fast car slow.
It's hard to explain what boring is. I mean, boring like
Just
rental car boring.
okay.
like penalty box.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
Rental
Rental
cars
cars
can
are
be
not
fun.
boring.
No,
Yeah.
Hold on now.
The best
But
race
they
car
don't-
you can ever
you
have
don't
is a
rent
rental
an
car.
exciting rental car.
Yes, you
It's-
do.
You drive it like it's an exciting
Exactly.
car.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
not a
But
that's not a Nissan
They don't
Sentra.
drive them like that. There.
That
They
it
drive
does.
them like it's a rental car.
That's a race car with insurance.
Right. It's not a Nissan Versa. It's a drag car, and I'm on 95 coming south.
Do you think this Nissan Versa can go through the forest? Yes.
Yes, it can.
Should it? Yes.
So when I was
Will it
living,
catch air?
Yes.
when I was living in Savannah,
Two-wheel drive Jeep Liberties absolutely can.
I was planning on coming down, and it was when gas was $5.35 a gallon, and the Mustang took an entire tank of gas to get here, and an entire tank of gas to get back. And in the Mustang, that's
Because that's what
start adding
Mustangs
up.
do.
You start adding that up, and that's like, that's about $230 in gas all together. Because then I got to
It's a
fill
mortgage
it up
payment
again.
every month.
Then I got to fill it up again when I get back. I could rent a car through my company for $150, and that car will get all the way down there and back and still have half a tank. I'm gonna rent a car. Just wear somebody else's car out. They gave me a Nissan Versa. And I had the fastest Nissan Versa on the planet. Because I got onto 95 in Savannah, and I just said, let's see what it can do.
You're the only person that used 100% of that pedal.
And it wound itself up
And not
to
breaking
about
the speed
90.
limit.
Yeah.
Now, I had it wound up to 90 on 95 coming south through Georgia in Mexico. And that's about all that car had. But I used every bit of that car.
95 in a Versa. It's like 195 and
Yes,
Oh yeah, the thing shakes like the Columbia Space Shuttle during re-entry, but
No, you're doing 95. You're still getting 38 miles to the gallon. And you're actually watching your MPG go up, and you're like, wow,
Right.
this is great. Tucked behind a semi truck, you're like, okay, I'm the size of this mud flap, but come on, buddy, let's go. Maybe I can get 45 miles to the gallon.
and that's the thing. When you got a rental car, it ain't mine. I don't have to fix it if it breaks. So
I've driven
every
a rental car
stoplight,
once in my life, and I drove it like it was a rental. I was gentle.
every stoplight coming down 301. All right, green light. Me.
There's a reason you can't rent it until you're 25.
Well, they should adjust that age for me. They should just not rent me cars.
You just say, yeah, no, you're done. I mean, like I said, the Cavalier that I tried to snap the brake pedal off and found out the ABS does work, needed brakes after that. I had smoke rolling out of the wheels. The Jeep Liberty that went through the forest run, they can catch air. Two-wheel drive Jeeps in the forest, lots of fun. Allegedly.
Didn't actually take it to the forest, but I did have a good dream about it.
Yeah, very accurate dream.
Well, no, the statute of limitations is up on that. You're fine.
Oh yeah, it was years and years ago, supposedly.
Yeah. So we got a auction car.
I do have an auction
Bring it
car.
up.
There was not a whole lot of interesting stuff on Cars and Bids. It was just a lot of regular ass mainstream cars.
No.
I mean, there was an R30 Skyline, but it didn't. It stopped at 15 grand. It didn't get sold. So what I have found is a car that I have actually driven way back in my two-legged days. Took one for a test ride, and even teenage me realized that having an Italian car in Citrus County, Florida, not the smartest move, even though it was ridiculously fun. Very slow, but fun. I have a 1982 Fiat Spider 2000.
Ooh.
5-speed manual, Pininfarina style, Lampredi twin-cam engine. 59,700 miles shown. It's had the bumpers taken off of it.
Why does it sound like that you're talking like you're the guy from Price is Right?
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to sell the car to see what you guys will bid
Well,
for this thing. I mean, that's what we're doing.
Sounds like the prize we're about to win.
Yeah, we're seeing who gets closest.
Could be
Price-
yours, Bob.
Price
Could
is
be
Right
yours. Ooh, the
Uh,
bumpers taken off is a good choice.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
good.
Good choice.
Well, also, too, like I said, if it was a European car, it would have the nice thin bumpers on it, but because it's a 1982 in the United
And
States,
had
that
the
means it had the
thickos.
park benches.
Yeah.
But still, the no bumpers is a good choice.
Looks
Yeah,
better.
that is definitely a good move. 14-inch Chromodora wheels. Faux wood cam and trim. Deleted front and rear bumpers. Turn signals relocated behind the grille. It's got an air dam, upgraded thermostat and cooling fan, ANZA half exhaust, catalytic converter replaced with a test pipe. Aftermarket steering wheel
I like
horn
that.
button.
It's
Test
not
pipe.
replaced with a test pipe. They are test fitting a new exhaust. It will be put back on before the vehicle is sold.
Aftermarket, it doesn't show in the picture that I chose, but there was a close-up of it. The Blaupunkt AM/FM cassette unit is the old school with the handle that you pull the whole goddamn
Oh,
thing
yeah,
out.
yeah,
I still
nice.
need to get mine put into my car. I got one.
It's
cool.
got some chips and it's weathered, and I mean it's not a perfect car.
It
And
was fun to drive.
the tires are 2017 date codes, 2009 date codes on one tire.
Oh, it's been sitting on butt.
But that looks like is that an original? Yeah, Mike's saying 12.3. He's already in.
Yeah, that's a 13-inch spare.
Recent searches is ANZA exhaust system, upgrade thermostat,
I-
cooling fan,
I do like
alternator,
the-
starter, timing belt, front
I
and
like
rear
that
dampers,
picture.
front and rear brake calipers, front and rear brake rotors, brand pads replaced. Basically got all brakes done. New coolant, oil and filter change. Included in the sale are the factory bumpers if you decide to do it. And yeah, it has 59,700 miles.
That's pretty low mileage
Is
for
that
that year.
fair? Is it
How many miles?
verified?
59,000.
It just says that's what's shown on the odometer.
Well, you gotta think. Is that a 5-digit odometer? Or
Is it
a
rolled?
That's a 5-digit, but
Because otherwise,
be
I'll
rolled.
say mine's only 9,600,
Yeah.
96,000 miles.
Mike's in a
But it's
12.3.
most likely a
Chris P is in
196.
an 8.999.
and then again, like I said, these were cars.
Are we
That
guessing
F-
what the thing's listed for?
Yeah, so
What
it's
it's
Try
sold
to
for.
guess the
It's
selling
What
price.
it's sold for.
It's closest
Oh, what
without
it's sold
going
for.
over.
This was an
Yeah.
auction car.
So it is Price is Right rules. You can't go over.
7,500.
7,500. 7,500, 89.99, 12.3. Where you two at?
55.
You cut me.
14, boss. 14.
$6,500.
Really?
Hey! You went over.
Yes, I know.
Price is right.
Like I said, I did drive one of these way back in my two-legged days, and they're dog shit slow because it's not a lot of power from that little
but
2-liter.
they're fun.
But the noise it made was amazing.
Oh, they rev to the moon.
They rev to the moon. This is the injected one. With Webers, they sound even better. But like I said, it was a lightweight, very tossable, manual everything. So it was, like I said, it was
you feel everything.
slow in a straight line, but you throw it down Ozella or take it on,
You don't lift.
It's one of those. You're going down the straight line, going 60. All it's got. You're going into that corner at 60 still with all it's got, and you don't have to lift.
And
Yeah,
you
it's
exit
momentum problem.
that corner
At
going
60 with all it's got.
But that's also the car. Like I said, if you took that on the Istachatta to Gobbler Drive run, if you took that haul, that car would be absolutely amazing. With some fresher tires, of course.
Yeah.
What? You don't like the
But honestly,
not like the day codes on the Fox.
But honestly,
when
I
first got
wouldn't
it?
put really sticky tires on that.
No.
I would
No,
put
you
like
want-
I would put
you
like
want-
a I would put like a 400 or 450 treadwear tire
You
on
want
that thing
some slide.
and let those things move around.
You want some sidewall action on that. That's part of. I think that's designed into part of its suspension. You need that sidewall to move.
And not just the sidewall move. You don't want super amounts of grip out of that thing.
'Cause
You
you're gonna
want
break
that
shit.
thing when you turn that thing in, and the rear end starts to come out. That's when you roll into the throttle and you basically just zero lock drift the car around corners and steer it with your foot and
Hang on.
and
Which
just
is how
have
the
the fun
car was
with it.
meant to be driven. Yeah, if you put super stickies on, you're going to have problems with the suspension folding
Yeah.
because it's not going to be able to withstand it.
They probably
Oh,
bend the car in half.
saw an
Yeah.
Exoset on the road the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Exoset is a little tube framed car, like the poor man's Ariel
Yeah,
Atom,
yeah.
but it's you get the frame, and then all of the driveline comes out of a Miata.
I think there was one at Wendy's a couple of weeks ago.
That
I
probably
did
was.
see. It was about 2 months ago. I did see an actual Ariel Atom with
Yeah.
the K series in it.
Yeah, there.
I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, there was one that came up to Wendy's about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, and when it pulled in, like it was the second generation one. It wasn't the V8 one, but it was the second generation that had the wings on it.
Yeah.
And when it rolled in, like I was like, holy shit, Ariel Atom. And then like
And that
everybody.
that K series with that supercharger sounds amazing.
But yeah, I think out of everybody in the parking lot, like me and him were the only ones
Yeah.
that knew what it was.
Yeah,
like
I
everybody
wanted-
else was like, what the fuck is
no,
that thing?
Seriously, like the V8 one's cool. You're gonna die in it. That K series supercharged is
That
I
was
I think that is the perfect amount of power
I just
to weight in that.
Clarkston sitting in one with his
The-
cheeks.
Yeah, and that
and
was
that was
I
what and that
remember.
was with
That
the K
was-
series.
yeah,
one,
that was
too.
that was the early one without the wings. That was the
Yeah.
first gen car.
And you just hear it, because the fucking intake's right there next to it, and you just hear that supercharger just, it's like a Terminator scream.
Sucking your brains out.
Yeah. That's the reason why.
Yeah,
I
you'd have to get a haircut or tuck that up. 'Cause it would
Yeah.
suck that thing right in there.
Well, that's why he's got the bug guard on it. He's got the bug guard on it, Or
Oh.
if it gets long enough, it'll hit the blades.
Maybe.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
Just give
cut
it a
it.
trim.
Yeah. That's how I cut the dead ends
All right.
off.
Well, that was good.
Yep.
Yeah.
We didn't have a Dan.
Well done on the beer there.
Good beers.
Yeah, well,
Thank you,
like,
appreciate it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely win the cheap beer challenge. That is shocking.
Well, it's good to win something.
Yeah, that totally works.
Didn't even know you were competing.
I didn't.
But as soon as he
No,
said
no,
that,
no.
as soon as he said 99 cents, I'm like, that wins. That just automatically wins in my eyes.
My wife even said, "Why are you asking? I just don't want to walk out of there with like I stole it."
Hey,
It's one of
I
those-
got a premium Hot Wheels car out of Walgreens the same way. It was mislabeled on the shelf, and I was like, "Can you price this chick, please?" And she's like, "That's $565." I'm like, "Well, the tag says it's it's same price as the regular one."
She's looking at you like, "I don't care what the tag says."
No, she went over there and scanned it. She's like, "Yep, you're right."
Alrighty. And on that bombshell, thank you guys for watching.
See you in 2 weeks. Hopefully
Thank
with
you.
our hopefully with Dan here.
Yes.
Hopefully Dan will be back. See you guys in 2 weeks. And
If not, send your resumes to.
send your resumes to. I will replace Dan on Pints and Pistons.
Also, remember, we got new merchandise on PintsandPistons.net.
Dan's
Yep.
Porsche shirt.
We got a Porsche
saw
sticker.
that.
We haven't done that into a shirt yet. Then we got the Papia 86 shirt coming on. Then we are still in the process of making Chris a t-shirt. I just need to figure out what to design. I got a concept. I need Sabrina to do it because I don't know how to work on the computer.
Okay.
So,
Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night, and everybody be safe this week.
See you next time.